Hello, this is Isabelle. I'm here to teach you Thinking Body, aka Syntonics, because the foundation of Thinking Body is Syntonics as created and taught by Judith Koltaï. The roots of this work, as I was telling you in the first class, is quite wide, and I have a few books that you could pick out at the library when the libraries are open, or online. So Thérèse Bertherat with Anti-Gymnastique is one of the foundations of this work. Thinking Body, Mabel Ellsworth Todd, Dr. Fred and Elsa Gindler with Holistic Gymnastic. Just a reminder, you can do these classes out of order. It is preferable, though, that you do the first class so you get all the information, and then you can shuffle the classes as you want. Another important principle is that we're not trying to achieve anything. So we're working in a really different way where we are discovering and rediscovering a lot of our movement possibilities and what our bodies can do. I also have my friend Skelly here helping me out. Yo, bro, how's it going? Hopefully I don't forget to include him in the class today. And so today we're going to be looking at a test position, working on the floor, working with our breath as well. You could have a mat handy if you don't want to sit directly on or sit and lie directly on the floor. And maybe a blanket handy for the last part of the class where you rest and your body, your nervous system might cool down or something. Okay, good to go, thank you. Well, let's just start with something a bit different. We'll start with a test position right on the floor. This position can be a bit challenging, so it can elicit a lot of frustration. Just be patient with what we're doing. And I've already introduced you to some of this last class when we were standing by the wall and we were opening up our joints and trying to press ourselves into the wall and our whole back. So this is this is similar. So we're sitting on the floor and just sit with your legs extended in front of you. Legs, if you could feel that line underneath your leg from your sits bone to your heel. So sometimes I need to close my eyes just to make sure I'm in contact with my sensation, so you can do that too if you wish to. So I'm feeling that line, that almost that elastic that is drawn in between my sits bone and my heels. Just sitting there and see how this position feels to you. It's always welcomed to sigh. And notice how this feels. Do you feel a lot of effort in sitting like this? And where is that effort? So I notice that I'm wiggling a bit to attempt to make a bit of space in my upper body. Taking the sensations. And this class is purposely slow so that your nervous system can account for what is going on, and because the whole class is about rebalancing your body with your nervous system. You could open your eyes when you feel comfortable doing so. How is your breath? And if you feel discomfort in this position, see if there's anything you're doing that you could stop doing that is hindering you. So instead of trying to correct yourself, you want to adjust something. So it might be bringing your legs a bit closer. You could put your hands on your sides. I notice I'm holding my breath, so I've just let go of my my middle. And pull up a bit with your, from the top of your skull, so the fontanella, the top fontanella, which is a very important part of our body, since when we're born, this is the part that comes out the first, or that the doctor or the midwife touches the first, sometimes the mom. See if your neck is long, and if you're tucking your chin in. If you are, like I was, just let your chin pop up. And if there's sun in your room or light, let the light land on your face and feel that light. Just receive it. So you might start to feel a bit of strain in this position, so we're gonna make it more difficult. So it is a test position, so that's what we're doing right now. So you're gonna bring your heels together, and then you're gonna bring this knuckle of your foot, so it's technically the second knuckle of your foot, and your toe, your big toe together. You are going to flex your feet and spread out your toes a bit if you can, and you're also going to connect your ankles together, and you are attempting to maintain all this contact at the same time, so simultaneously. I would like it as well that you connect your knees together, so your knees are touching and all these different joints are touching. Now I'm having trouble touching my ankles today, so see if there's somewhere that you could stop pulling. So I'm pulling, as a demonstration, I'm pulling my right shoulder right now. I'm going to see if I can put that effort, instead of putting it in the shoulder, I'm going to let go of that shoulder. So I'm going to stop pulling that shoulder, become aware that I'm pulling it, not do it anymore, and then see how I can bring this effort somewhere else. I am bracing a bit in my lower back, so if you are doing this, it is a challenging position. See if you can lengthen your lower back, and how could that happen? Keep doing it, and at the same time, pull yourself up from the top of your skull, that fontanella. So you might be noticing that in doing so, a considerable amount of effort now is transferred to your quads and to the front of your body, not the back of your body. There you go. So this exercise, or this test position, is very toning for the pelvic floor. It's very demanding and engaging for the pelvic floor. Please keep holding it. You might see some change. I'm starting to see some change, so I feel like my chest is popping up a bit more easily, and now my ankles are together a bit more easily. Try to keep it a bit more. Bear with me. Thank you so much. A bit more. And you could stop that. And now just sit with your legs apart and see how your sitting feels now, where you're sitting from. You can do this with your eyes closed or eyes open. I definitely feel more length in my lower back. And I feel more space at the front of my chest. So I'm speaking what I'm sensing. You could speak what you're sensing to yourself. You could also go and pause the video and write a bit, either during the video, during the class, or after. And suddenly I feel my breath, instead of happening in my shoulders, I have more space in my back, in my lower ribs. So let's lie on the floor a bit. I'm gonna shift my pack. Oh, first, let's go talk to Skelly a bit. So we're gonna attend to our breastbone. And you can see it on Skelly here. It starts right at the nook of your throat, and then it goes down. You see the highest point here. This is a point that we are going to attend to. If you look at Skelly sideways, you see how this is the highest point. So for you, and for me, it's usually, if you're a woman, it's in between your breasts. Men as well, actually. So right here in between your breasts, and then you have that little tip of the sternum here that finishes off, and the ribs that go down, so this nice ridge, and the floating ribs. So you could feel that for yourself right now, just coming in contact with that. And the tip might feel a little tender, a little strange to push on that tip. So delicately, and then the ridge of your ribs, you can explore that, and the floating ribs down here. All right. Thank you, Skelly. So if you would lie on your mat. I'm gonna move my pack. So start on the floor. If you can, keep your eyes open. I have a lot of light in my eyes, so shining in my eyes because of the studio setting, so I might close my eyes at some point. So lying on the floor, feel the imprint your body is making on the floor. You can also feel the differences between both sides. Do you feel symmetrical or asymmetrical? And that's important information for your nervous system, which is yourself. And again, take your time, because the noticing is part of the rebalancing. When I notice what I'm doing and what I'm sensing, then we create a loop, and there is change that is possible because I'm noticing what I'm doing, and then I can stop doing what I don't want to do, and I can do something else. Notice how your legs are on the floor. How is your pelvis lying on the floor? Lower back, mid-back, shoulder blades, your neck, your skull. How much of you is in contact with the floor, and how much of you are you lifting off the floor? See if there's any way you could stop lifting anything that you are lifting right now. So you might need to scoot up a bit to lengthen your back to do that. And I was holding my shoulders up a bit, so I've dropped them, and I feel more contact in between my shoulder blades and the floor now. And I feel more contact since I've scooted up, lengthened my spine. I feel more contact between my lower back and the floor. And I feel a bit less difference in between the sides of my body. So you do that for yourself. Make sure you're not digging your chin into your neck, so you might need to reposition your skull on the floor and have more of the upper part of your skull landing on the floor rather than the lower part of your skull. You see the difference? So now it's the lower part of my skull, and that creates, I'm digging into my chin, and that's also lifting up my mid-back and my lumbar. So if I reposition my skull and have the top of my skull, or rather not the top, but the top back part of my skull lying on the floor, suddenly I can breathe out, sigh, There's more space in my neck. And would you, instead of dropping your feet out like I'm doing right now, would you flex your feet and pull them out a bit from your sits bone? So do one side at a time, pulling, feeling that elasticy feeling in between the heel and the sits bone. Try not to arch as you're doing that, so keep the full shoulder axis on the floor as well as your pelvis. So you can stop that on one side and do it on the other side. Pull, pull, pull your heel. Pull it out. And then let that go. Or stop doing that. And do it a few times on each side. On your out breath, pull your heel. See if you're pulling away from the floor anywhere, and see if you can leave all of your torso on the floor as you're doing that. So you're attempting to do this without lifting your lumbar off the floor. Stop that, and then breath out, pull on your heel. Breath in, you let your heel spring back. A couple more times. Alternating sides. Nice. See if your feet now will drop out a bit less than when you first lied on the floor. You can lengthen up, scoot up if you need to. I'm starting to feel less difference between my right and my left. So again, with this idea of this elastic pulling your heel in between the sits bone and the heel, you're just going to pull your heel so your foot lands on the floor, and then pull your other heel. And notice how your back is lying on the floor now. We've done this a few times already if you've done the 3 other classes. So you're looking for the sweet spot where your leg, your femur, drops into your pelvis, and your pelvis can drop into the floor. And there's more contact between your lumbar, your waist, and the floor. So you can even rock your pelvis a little bit. On your out breath, you rock it towards the waist. In breath, you let it spring up. And we're doing this very, very easy, okay? Rock your pelvis. And you could give yourself a bit of tactile information. So if you touch the ridge of your hip bones here, out breath, you're rocking your pelvis towards your waist, and then let it spring back. Notice if you're using your shoulders to do this. Try not to. Give them a break and see where this effort can happen so that the rest of your torso can just drop into the floor, lie into the floor. There we go. Just 1 or 2 more times. And you can stop that. So you might remember the breastbone. So if you could go to your breastbone and locate that highest point. So this highest point is going to be our reference point right now. So what we're going to do on our out breath, we're going to press down our sternum towards the floor and towards our pubic bone, which is right here. You can touch it if you need to locate it. So those are our 2 reference points right now. You also got a 3rd reference point, which is your lower back, so the small of your back, lumbar. So on your out breath, breathing out, towards the end of your out breath, you're going to press down your sternum, the highest point, into the floor and towards your pubic bone. See what kind of relationship these 2 points are in. In breath, you let that be. Towards your next out breath, press down again. The idea of this is that you want to empty your lungs more fully than you normally do, than we all normally do. So a modest breath in, and then a very generous breath out, pressing down all that air. As you press, make sure you are using as little as possible your shoulders and your neck. Make sure your jaw is loose. And also make sure that your abdomen is not working too hard to do this. So you want your stomach and your abdomen to be loose. So a few more breaths. So you could pause the video, do a few more if you want. Otherwise, keep going with me. So what we're going to do lastly today is that on our out breath, we're going to turn our head on the floor as if we want to press our cheek into the floor. We're going to do that on the out breath. In breath, I let my head come back to center. Next out breath, I'm going to turn my head to the other side. Next out breath, you move on to the other side. Do this a few times, and as you do this, make sure the line of your pelvis, so I'm feeling or sensing my pelvis as this horizontal line right now, as well as my shoulders. And then I have my midline, so I feel like a double T. And I want all these different points to stay on the floor as I do this. So you could do this a few more times. And then just rest where you are, or simply rest where you are. And make your way to standing, but first you're going to turn to your side. Take a little time to get up. I'm going to do this a little faster than I suggest. Here's my pack. I'm going to bring it with me. And take your time to arrive on your feet and see how this feels to you. Where's your weight on your feet? How's your breath? Anything you notice. I definitely notice more space at the front of my body, and my face is way more relaxed, and I feel my eyes are clearer and I can see wider scope. So thank you. That was our 4th class. Thanks for moving with me. I hope you join us for the next class. This is Isabelle. Have a great day.